Today kicked off with an early morning gi jiu-jitsu session, followed by this post-training circuit. There are a few reasons I always schedule the physical prep training that I do, whether it's these circuits, whether it's strength training, running, whatever it happens to be, immediately after skills training, is because at this stage of my life and with the goals that I currently have, it fits the priority principle best, which means my ultimate goal is to get better at skill acquisition in martial arts. So that has to take priority and be done first. After that comes the physical prep training. And secondly, why not maximize the use of an elevated body temperature and joint lubrication before externally loading the body? After all, doing otherwise is asking for injury. This is later the same day after a lunchtime no-gi wrestling session, again, prioritizing the skill development via doing that first in the session and making it the bulk of the training for the day. And secondly, maximizing a high body temperature and joint lubrication before doing more loading or explosive-based physical training. While the sequencing of training might not seem like a big deal, because let's face it, most people can get away with most things in training for a short period of time, if we're talking weeks and maybe even up to 12 months. But given a long enough time frame of years and decades, it'll catch up with you. The reason everything catches up with us in training at some point, whether positive or negative, is because everything we develop in our training over time, outside of any innate gifts that we bring to the world, is a result of compound interest. So we want our training compounding in a positive direction. And as a final point on this topic, I'm going to read you a quote from Sosai Mas Oyama, the founder of Kyokushin Karate. I recently read it in a book he wrote in the late 1970s called The Kyokushin Way. It was a philosophy book that he wrote. And he wrote, I quote, "But in this instant is the result of a long course of uneventful, unspectacular training," end quote. And I love what he's saying there. Now, personally, I don't find training uneventful, unspectacular. I love the nuance and the manipulation and the changes you can make in training to change the body. But I think what he's saying there is you want long periods of uneventful, unspectacular training. In other words, you're not injured and you're able to train consistently long-term and get better at the skills of the martial art. This applies to all sports and activities though, not just martial arts.